An international organization has opposed the introduction of comprehensive sexuality education in Nigerian schools. The Center for African Policy, Research and Advisory describes the policy as the greatest assault on the health and innocence of children. Its executive director, Dr. Segun Adebayo, spoke in Abuja on Thursday. He claims minors have been exposed to immoral sexual values. Legal advisor Sonnie Ekwowusi is urging the National Assembly to reject attempts to legalize the policy. He also alleges that narratives around sexual and reproductive health rights are intended to promote abortion. Meanwhile, statistics show that about 1.25 million induced abortions occurred every year in Nigeria. Around 212,000 women are treated yearly for complications from unsafe abortion. For a deeper understanding of the contentious matter of sexual and reproductive health education among young people, lawyer and human rights advocate Sonnie Ekwowusi joins us now. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Sonnie Ekwowusi, good to have you.
Very happy to be here.
It's your first time in this new beautiful studio.
Yes.
We've always had you at the other end.
Yes, at the other side, yes.
Good morning.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We watched the executive director of your center last Thursday in Abuja being very opposed vehemently to the idea of the comprehensive sexuality education in Nigeria, and is asking, like you are also asking, that the National Assembly, particularly the House of Reps, should not allow that sort of changes in Nigerian education. Yes, to happen.
And also in our curriculum in schools.
In our curriculum.
Yes.
Talk to us about the context to all of this. Where are we, and why are you opposed to it? Is it from a religious point of view, or from protection for minors?
It's not for religious. It's from the cultural point of view, because every society, every country has its own culture, and culture is the center, the foundation of building a society or building a country, because once you destroy the culture of the people, you have destroyed everything. In fact, our discussion is more important than politics, in the sense that culture is the first thing. So our advocacy is that, look, these kids are young kids in JS1, JS2, and you're introducing this thing, comprehensive sex education, that is not just not for the purpose of education. It's just to corrupt their morals, to make them practice masturbation, abortion, sterilisation. We are saying that this is anti-Africa, this is anti-culture, this is anti-common sense, we want to put it that way. These are kids. So we're also concerned because these things are promoted by foreign organizations, that are not really, should be not working in Nigeria. They go to these schools and they make them have access to all these things. Small kids who are just growing up, and you are telling them, do this, that sex is their right, that they should not, listen to their parents who are telling them not to have sex. They should not listen to their parents who should tell them not to, express themselves, have pleasure, and so on and so forth. We are saying, as veritable stakeholders, that this should not happen, because you are destroying the human capital. You are destroying the future generation. People who are going to be at the helm of affairs in the future. You are destroying them by introducing these things. What you should tell them is moral formation. That's what we all grew up with. In my secondary school and primary school, we are all educated to a lesson of moral formation, a lesson of character formation. But what you don't do is to introduce all these, abrasive, all these immoral things in schools. And these kids, who are very impressionable, okay, at the age of 10, 11, you are saying, okay, this is sex is your right, and all that, and all that. It is terrible. It is not acceptable, because it runs counter to our values, it runs counter to our morals, it runs counter to our culture, and it's completely not acceptable. In Burkina Faso, for instance, Burkina Faso president has expelled all these organizations that are introducing these things in Burkina Faso. Why do we continue to allow this thing to be taught in our schools? The issue about sex or whatever, or sexuality, should be taught by the parents at home. This is their business. Not not to bring it in schools and teach them how to wear the condoms, how to do this. This is completely unacceptable. And we are saying, look, it should stop. It's not that it has not been introduced, it's already introduced, and we are, I mean...
I was going to remind you that, we've been on this matter since 2001,
of course.
When the first idea of the curriculum, started.
Yes.
But what ignited this current opposition?
Well, what ignited is that in public schools, they are still going ahead. There was a time that we went to court on this. And in fact, the thing was settled out of court because when the chief registrar of the Federal High Court saw the content and the judge also saw the content, we decided to settle out of court because we said that, and some of the content,
who settled out of court?
I mean, it was settled out of court between the plaintiffs who are some parents.
Yes.
And the organizations who are promoting these things. I would like to mention their names here. But we settled out of court because they said, okay, withdraw some of the bad content, remove them. And they did. We are surprised that they've gone back and started changing this. That they don't give assignment. That's why it is dangerous, because the parents don't even know what they are being taught. And when the kids get home, they keep quiet because, maybe out of embarrassment, And in the exam, they tell them to describe the human physiology and all these things and all this. Even in the open class, where you have boys and girls, they say, touch your sexual organs. This thing I'm saying is not. Is
that not what you will encounter in a biological class
in
secondary school?
I studied biology. You don't have to touch the genital organ of person beside you or whatever. We all studied biology. It was ordinary biology. But this one is that they go to the extreme of calling things by their names, of mentioning things by their names. And we're saying that
in an educational context, sorry to interrupt you, but is it not important for kids to be able to call things by their names, to understand their physiology?
But the danger is that it's not just calling by name, but also telling them that, look, that you can express it, you can do it, okay? What you're talking about, you have to put this judgment, moral judgment. You can call it by a name and say, look, but not for people like you. Wait until you get married. You have to teach it with judgment. A teacher should say, look, fine, I mentioned this is not that you go and express yourself and all that and all that.
So is it your understanding then that alongside the biological aspect of things, teachers in sex education curricula are encouraging students to have sex? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, because they go to the extent of, I'm saying that it's not that, this is not conspiracy theory. We've gone around, I would like to mention in secondary schools, where a teacher comes up and brings a rubber condom and all that and starts telling them how to put it. This is something that is not done. Yes! I won't have to call the school because it's going to be embarrassing. We've gone around and don't forget that these things, we've gone around and it's unfortunate I didn't come with the court process. You have seen the lawyers and everything. And, excuse me. So it is not allowed,
Well, we know that just based on research and the data that we have on this very specific issue, sex education is important for understanding puberty, preventing STIs, preventing misinformation, right? Because if children are teaching themselves, then that's where the misinformation comes in. And also preventing unwanted pregnancy, which ties into this question of abortion. That's very important. So are these not topics that are important to the development of a well-rounded child?
It's very dangerous, because that's why we are saying that parents should handle this. Parents should not be too busy, because the teacher, the way it is taught in school is very dangerous, it's very detrimental to the character of the child. Don't forget that the cause of infidelity that we're having today is attributed to use of these contraceptives, Because, many of these girls in schools, secondary school and first year in university, second year or thereabout, they are given access to these contraceptives, okay? And they use it, they are not pregnant. But in the long run, when they get married, the case of infertility comes up, This has been studied and they do it without the consent of their parents. Okay, we can leave university students now. Let's talk about those in secondary schools, This is real, and they have to, without the consent of their parents, you are giving them injections, you are giving them contraceptives that will, supposedly stop pregnancy. What about later on in life?
Well, are there schools that are administering contraceptives?
Of course, they are. It's not that they are
schools.
It's not the schools, but they allow agencies to come in and give this
And
things.
that's being done without parental consent
very
for
good.
minors?
I'm saying that things are happening here because imagine you having your daughter in these schools. Private schools, maybe they don't do it, but most public schools, we've gone round. I will not have to mention names because it will be very embarrassing. They are going in, and many of these teachers are outside teachers. They're employed from outside to come in and teach this, and say, look, this is what you have to do. I've just mentioned that I know of a school where a teacher comes, in front of the class and demonstrates how to use the condom in front of the pupils. And they are watching, they are looking at. And later on, this is something that's very embarrassing. It's against our values, against our culture, against our family values. And if you have kids who are very impressionable, and you have them, all those. And then more importantly, they have also removed some textbooks that we are using in school. I'm sure that when you went to school, you studied the Things Fall Apart, Mind Boy, you studied Shakespeare and all that. But right now, they've removed some of those literatures and they have put sex-related literature. This is something that we also went to court. And we told the publisher, why do you have to do this? Why do you have to, publish this kind of thing, You have a biology textbook that is made with a watermark inscription saying my mother is a harlot, my father is a thief, All these are things that we have discovered. I say, why do you have to do this? He said it's purpose to avoid book piracy. I say, fine, but you don't have to say my mother is a harlot, okay? When they are opening the pages and all that and all that. Also in mathematics, they are telling them 8 condom minus 2 condom. These are things that people don't know, but this is something that is obtained.
Textbooks.
Textbooks. Well, they have them in my office.
In Nigerian schools?
Yes, if you want me, I can come back and bring the textbook. They are in my office. I cannot tell lies. I have them in my office. We went to court and we exhibited them and said, look, this is what they are using here. What is the meaning of my mother is a harlot? When you open the textbook, In fact, the publisher came all the way from Onitsha to plead with us to withdraw the suit. What we are saying that this is damaging to our children, okay? Whatever you want to do, you don't have to teach them all this. And in exam, they are also giving, some of these questions to describe the human anatomy, to describe the best sex they've had and all that. And some of them are, and when they come home, they keep quiet. They don't tell their parents.
Mr. Ekwowusi, let me ask a further question to what I asked earlier about what ignited this current advocacy of yours, given
what ignited is actually that now we're in political era.
Yes.
And so we want to tell the candidates contesting that if they want to win the votes of Nigeria, they should not subscribe to all these things. This sex education, sexuality education. That's what ignited it. Now that this is the best moment to tell those who are contesting, please don't subscribe to this. This is not what we should give to our kids, okay? Give them good education. Give them, sound education, sound moral education. That's what we all grew up with,
I was going to ask you that. What is the level of engagement and interface that you have had with the Ministry of Education? Given that you have instituted a number of court cases directly by your organization, but then what is the Ministry of Education's position in all of this?
We letters to them, and also we also involved this institution that's involved with curriculum. I've forgotten the name now. Within the letters, and our respondents said that they will get back to us, and they didn't. Over the years, And these things are still there. So there must be interest groups who want this to be there. Sorry. So we are surprised that despite all the letters and all that, this troubling content are still in these books used in schools. I told you that when we went to file the suit at the Federal High Court, Lagos, the registrar looked at it and said, what is this? So this is what they are teaching them in school. He was shocked. And the judge was also surprised. And eventually, I told you, we settled out of court because they didn't want to say, withdraw them. And they did. That was about 20 years ago. But we have discovered that these things are still there. Imagine some parents are saying that when the child comes home, they ask questions. Mommy, when are you going to buy condom for me? Imagine 10 years, 5 years. It's that maybe condom is a kind of sweet, you know?
Well, so, on the question of I guess sexual health and safety, particularly for older teenagers, exactly. The data that we have shows us that there's roughly 1.25 million induced abortions that occur in Nigeria. But of that number, there's over 200,000 women who are being treated for unsafe abortion complications. If we want a society where we don't have unsafe abortions, we don't have young women putting themselves at risk for this, is sex education not important?
Oxymoron that you just said that there's nothing like safe abortion, because abortion is always dangerous. Abortion kills a victim, that's the baby in the womb. So we don't really call it unsafe abortion, because no abortion is safe. And more importantly, our laws, criminalizes abortion, there are various sections, the combined effect of all the sections in the criminal code, the penal code, say that abortion is illegal. And when you continue to do the abortion, you are indulging in crime. You can be prosecuted, We are written to the police, and the police are taking it up several times. So abortion is illegal. So when do you have to...
The issue is, if you walk that idea back, that we don't... The idea is we don't want abortions, right? If that is your position. So if we don't want abortions, and we know that it is inevitable, young people are going to have sex. How do we prevent unwanted pregnancies? Does it not start with healthy sex education in schools?
Can't say because so many people are committing armed robbery, let's buy gun for people to start committing armed robbery.
No, but let's teach them in school that they should not, that stealing is bad.
Yes, teaching them is not to do the thing. You can't give them moral instruction and say, look, save yourself from this, because the best is always prevention. To abstain is always the best.
Well, if abstinence was working, would we have 200,000
what I'm saying
abortions?
That, look, all these statistics, they're even questionable. What I'm saying is that, look, you can't say no matter how your son or your daughter is bad at home, you can't say fine, because you cannot help matters, let me give you some so you can be doing whatever. You try as much as possible to educate that daughter and son.
Okay, let me get you right, particularly what your organization is doing, the Center for African Policy Research and Advisory. Does it look like what you are against is sex education in Nigeria, or is it about what you consider to be agenda-driven, comprehensive sexuality education?
Agenda-driven, because you know very well that these people, they have, you can have, we all have very good intentions. Parents have very good intentions to teach these kids so that they will be careful. But these ones that are imposed from outside, they have ulterior motive, and this is not conspiracy theory. It's capital, destroying the capital of Africans and Nigerians. Why? Because they are afraid that we are growing, and so they introduce this, and compare the education, so that the family is strangulated, the family is killed at the end of the day. So it's not that they have very good intention like we all have to teach these kids. No, they have, it's agenda-driven, like rightly said, to make sure that we don't, grow. Don't forget that we have all traveled.
We don't grow?
Yes, we don't grow as a population.
Population-wise?
Yeah, because if you travel abroad, if you go to a place like UK, it's been filled up with immigrants. You don't find young people growing. A place like Netherlands, you can hardly find a woman who is pregnant within marriage or outside marriage. They are going down, and we are growing, and they are afraid that we might become a world power, okay? This is not a conspiracy theory. You have to read
the
Kissinger.
You think it has to do with population control?
Of course. It's a form of it. It's just a form of it. To make sure that the families don't grow, because they are afraid that Nigeria is the most populous African country. Nigeria is a giant, okay?
The most populous black nation in the world.
And also the most potential, okay? We have the best human capital and the best natural resources. If not because of corruption, US will not see the back of Nigeria. Nigeria will have accelerated. In 1975, the Naira was stronger than the dollars. 1975.
Correct.
If we are continued on that plane. So they are afraid of Nigeria. This is genuine afraid. It's not because they are saying, look, these people are giants already. So let's stop the family from growing. And that's why they are doing this, to make sure that, because they can't do it in their country. You find them here going to NYC camp, giving a couples condom, telling the families, no, to have only one child. If you go to UK, you can hardly find the indigenous. You have Nigerians, you have immigrants. The same thing with Netherlands, the same thing with even the US. The best human capital in the US are Nigerians, okay? So right. We are forced to be reckoned with, okay, so, and they are trying to cut down.
So when you say that part of what has ignited this advocacy this time around is because election is coming, and you want candidates to be aware. To be aware. Do you want to make comprehensive sexuality education part of the discourse for the election?
It should be.
Given what happened in the US during the last election in 2024, when Trump rode on this sort of advocacy to, family values, anti-abortion, and things like that. Is that where we are now?
Yeah, I mean,
as it concerns CSE?
It has concerned Nigeria because they have been practiced here. Because here, we don't have so much information, but they have been practiced here. We've gone around. We are saying, look, it should become an election issue. Candidates contesting should make sure that they don't introduce that. They make sure that whoever is going to be the president of Nigeria should ensure that comprehensive sexuality education should be abolished in schools completely, because it's not good for our children, okay? It's anti-progress, it's anti-culture, it's anti-value. We don't want it. They should teach the moral instruction. Why do you have to teach all this thing? Or the usual biology, the one that we studied, okay, in school, human physiology, stop at that. But you don't start telling them. You don't start telling them about
things have improved.
I know things have improved, but you don't start telling them how to do abortion, how to do masturbation. Look, that is not possible. Like I said, use moral judgment. You have to say, look, don't do this because you are kids.
You think you can teach Gen Z of today the way you were taught?
Of course. No, I know, but there's a story in Nigeria that you have. People complain that this thing you're talking about, they already see it on their mobile handset and everything.
Yes, on social media, everything.
On social media, but abroad, these things are regulated. In the US, as free as US is, you can't watch anything.
Correct.
Of course, you can't try that in Russia.
In China.
They will finish you in China. You can't do that. But here is free for all. Okay, the programs on our TV should not be shown. Some of the programs should not be shown when children are awake. These are things that is done in the US. Like Big Brother Nigeria, you show it all out. In the US, you can't do that because they have to say don't show it when children are awake. Okay, maybe show it later. So, but here, everything goes. The mobile handset, your child can take it and be browsing pornography, okay? And all that. So, I mean, it should not be like that. There should be some, this is what you have education, because don't forget that if these children are not properly brought up, we are going to pay dearly for it. When you are old, when I'm old, nobody take care of me because they are not responsible. That's why these children should be brought up responsibly.
All right, just before we let you go, Mr. Sonnie Ekwowusi, you said the other time that you won't mention any name in terms of it. But we know that Action Health Incorporated, is a major body when it comes to pushing the idea of a comprehensive sexuality education, even in Nigeria. Yes. Part of what they have said is that the prevalence of HIV in Nigeria is one of the highest in the world. Unsafe abortions that Tayo referenced, is very high. You don't think that they have any ground to at least appeal, for the way, to change the way that we do things?
Yeah, change the way they do it because what they should do is to educate these children, is to talk about if you have, say, you have unsafe abortion. Well, I've said abortion can never be safe. Okay, the proper thing to do is not to suggest people doing abortion or doing that. To find a way, look. Be careful. Don't indulge. Pregnancy is not a disease. When you have pregnancy, fine. Find a way of taking care of it, because don't forget that many people are looking for babies, adopting and crying for babies. Find a way of getting this baby born somewhere so that somebody can adopt the baby. People are looking for babies because don't forget that doing abortion is very dangerous to their health. Abortion is not tea that you can drink. It's dangerous. So we are saying, okay, pregnancy, but it's not a disease. It's unfortunate. It's a shameful thing. Even in the case of incest, okay, we have come across incest, father to daughter, very shameful. I will tell the father, please, this is shameful, but don't let your daughter go and do abortion because it's dangerous. Take her away out of Lagos. She goes to the village and gives birth to the child and give it to the grandmother. Let her come back and continue her schooling. Nobody knows.
That's the advice that you're giving to
Yes, people? Because it's incest, okay? It's very common, rampant. Incest in Lagos, the father is shameful. They come to us and say, look, please, don't do abortion. Let her go somewhere and nobody will know, and come back and continue schooling. Don't forget that maybe that child will be the only child that girl is going to have. So
but in the meantime, you want the family to carry that shame and retain
No, I wish him.
I'm just saying that it will be a very controversial proposition that you are making.
Nobody will know.
But all right, Mr. Sonnie Ekwowusi, we want to thank you. Part of the Center for African Policy Research and Advocacy, and I'm sure that the candidates of all the parties are listening to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.